In this video, we are going to discuss about list comprehension before we move on to while loops. So list comprehensions are a variety of for loops. They do the same thing as a for loop, but in a simpler way or in a different syntax. And list comprehensions are very often used in Python when we are trying to write a very simple for loop, where we are trying to generate another list out of a for loop. For example, if we come back to some of the examples that we saw, this filtering of a list. So we were given a list of students and we want to create a new list by using some filter, or we want to put some condition, something like that. So in such a situation, if the filter, or if the process that we are trying to apply, or if the code block that we are trying to execute in a for loop, if they are very simple, then instead of writing a for loop, we can use some alternate syntax that will make the code more readable and compact. So we are going to talk about list comprehensions, and then we will also talk about dictionary comprehensions, which is the corresponding syntax for using dictionaries. So let us take some examples and try to understand about list comprehension. Let me take this example. It says generate squares of all the odd numbers from 1 to 20. So if you had to write this uh, thing using the normal conventional for loop, what we are going to do, we are going to say for number in range 1 to 20, I'm going to print number if the number is odd. Okay, so if the number is odd, which means if number modulus division 2 is equal to 1, then we are going to print the number, and we are able to print it. And if we want to store it in a different list, then we can say new list empty, and here instead of printing, I will just say new list dot append, and then I will get a new list. Here, the code block that we are running inside for loop is fairly simple, and we can transform this entire thing to a list comprehension by using this syntax. So we create a list first of all, and then we say number for number in numbers. You see, we are numbers. You see, we are just jumbling this statement. Number. So we are saying for number in numbers. What do we want? We want number in a new list. You see, that is what we are doing here. If this statement is same as doing new list for number in number, new list dot append number. Okay, and if we do a new list here, these two blocks of code, this block of code and this block of code, they are identical. And if you see, this is just, we are jumbling up the words here. For number in numbers, we have here for number in numbers, and we are creating a new list and appending that to it. We are just saying take number and list is outside. So this is just rearrangement of the syntax, but this makes the code more readable when the processing or the filter that we are applying is very simple. So I can run this new list. You see, we are getting the same answer here. But what we want to do is we want to apply some kind of if conditions. There is a if condition here. So how do we apply a if condition? This applying this kind of if condition is called as filtering. We are filtering the list. So we can apply a if condition here. If number modulus division 2 is equal to 1. You see, and here if we want to apply, we'll do it this way. Number modulus division 2 equal to 1. Again, these two codes are doing the same thing. Let us take few more examples to understand this. So we have been given a list of students whose name is starting with A. I've taken this example earlier also, and I want to generate a list, or I want to filter out only those students whose name is starting with A. So if you want to write it using normal loop, you will say for student in students, I will create a new list, and then I will say new list dot append student. Under what condition? If student first character, sorry, student's first character is equal to A. Under this condition, I'm going to create a new list, and let me look at the new list. This is the new list. If I want to write the same thing using a list comprehension, and this is called as filtering. Okay, this is called as filtering. When we use if conditions inside a for loop, there are two ways. One is that we are just filtering, which means if a condition is true, only then we are going to append. It is also possible that we can have some condition here which will be else. In this case, we don't have else. Okay, so we'll see both the conditions. Right now we are only talking about filtering. So if we want to write the same block of code using list comprehension, we will say student for student in students. Okay, Now I want to apply the filter. So we'll say if student first character is equal to a. So then we are getting the same answer, and you can call this into new list. And this is how we write a list comprehension. Let us take one more example to understand it further. So earlier I told you that this block of code is called as filtering. Here let us do one question where we are not going to filter, but we are going to have a if else condition, and selectively we are going to create a new list. So it says, given a list of all the numbers from 1 to 10, generate a new list that contains a square of all the odd numbers and cube of all the even numbers. Which means that if I have a range, if I have a list 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I want to create a new list that will contain square of all the odd numbers. So if 1 is odd, I want to create square of 1, and for 2 I want to create a cube, 3 I want to create a square, and 4 I want to create a cube, which is 64. So from this I want to go to this. How are we going to do? So fairly simple. If I want to write it in a normal for loop, I'll say for number in range 1 to 10, I want to create a new list which will be empty list, and then I want to say that if number, and you see every time I need to check for odd or even, I have to write this condition again and again, which is very problematic. So keep in mind that this may not be the right way to do it, and there has to be some better way to check if the number is even or not, especially if we are doing that operation again and again. And that is where we are going to use functions. So in the coming lectures, we will, when we talk about functions, keep in mind that this is the problem that we are going to solve. And here checking for even or odd is very simple, so we are able to do it only in just one line. But imagine if we had a more complicated check which needed 3 or 4 lines, and if we had to do it again and again, so every time we are having to write this condition, which is very cumbersome. So there has to be a better way to do this. Just keep in mind that this is a problem. The solution to this problem is something we'll see a little bit later, which will be functions. Okay, let us continue. So this is a condition to check whether the number is even, and in case the number is even, I want to append the cube of the number. And if it is not, then in that case I want to append square of the number. Okay, so in this case we are not filtering, but we are rather applying some condition on every single number. So this is how we'll get my result. We have, you see, our we are doing a square for all the even numbers and cube for all the even numbers and square for all the odd numbers. If we want to write the same thing using a for loop, we'll say number for number. So we'll say number for number in numbers. Okay, we are getting this list, but now I want to apply some condition. So for applying the condition, I can't write it here because this will become filtering. So I want to write a if condition here in the beginning. We'll say number square for number in, sorry, number square if number is odd, sorry, is even. If it is even, we want cube, sorry, else numbers square. We can write it like this and we'll get the same answer. Now this statement must be very familiar to you. The block of code that I'm highlighting, this should be very familiar to you because this is an alternative way of writing if condition, right? So we can take this and we can actually apply it here as well. Here as well, instead of writing the if and else block here like this, we can actually replace it with this. Okay, and we can say new list dot append, and we can write like this also. Oh sorry, here I used number, so let me make it num. You can see we are getting, where is numbers? Oh sorry, instead of numbers I have to use range here, so it is taking numbers reference from earlier. You see we are getting the same answer. So this is again, all these three blocks of code are doing the same thing. Take some time to understand how this if else block got converted to just this line, and how this entire line of code got reduced to just this line. Okay, so this is about list comprehensions. Let us take one more example and then we'll move to dictionary comprehensions. So here is it, one more. So here I have one more example. I have a list of cities and I want to filter out name of the cities which are having even number of characters. Okay, fine. So if I write it using normal for loop, I'll just create a new list and then I'll say for city in cities, if length of city is even, in that case I want to append new list dot append city. right? And then I want to say new list, and I'm getting my answer Mumbai and Pune because they have even number of characters. Mumbai has 6 characters, Pune has 4 characters. And if I want to write the same thing using list comprehension, I will say city for city in cities, and I want to apply a filter condition. This is the filtering condition. I'm just filtering out those which are having even characters. So here, if I want to write a filter condition, then I will write if towards the end. I'll say if length of city modulus division 2 equal to 0, and I'm getting my answer. I can call it new list, and I can now display a new list. Let us just take one more example and then we'll move forward. So we have a list. This is a 2D list. This will be interesting. We have a 2D list, list of a list where we have 3 lists within one list, and each list contains 2 characters, and we want to flatten a 2D list into a single list, or we say flattening a 2D list into a 1D list. How are we going to do that? We are going to create a new list which will be like this: 50, 75, 120, 98, 45, and 67. We want to convert this list to this list. Okay, so how are we going to do? We are going to write a nested for loop. So I think I have not shown you how to write a nested for loop, but you can see that we have a list within a list. So we will run a loop on the outside list so that we get this list, and then we will run a loop inside this as well. This is called as a nested for loop. So let us do one example of this. We'll say for sublist in scores. Okay, for sublist in scores, what are we going to get? We are going to get this sublist is going to be 50 and 75, but I want to find out 50 and 75. So we'll iterate further into this sublist. We'll say for number in sublist, and let me create a new list here, result. Let me create result, and we'll say result dot append number. Now if we look at result, you see we got our answer here. I hope this is clear that what we are doing. If not, then let me put some print statements here. Let me print sublist here. You see, when we do sublist, it is printing. So the sublist first takes this value of this list. Once we have that sublist, which is itself a list, we are further writing a for loop inside that to get 50 and 75. So here, if we print, you see, if we print number. So first sublist value was 50 and 75, and then we wrote a for loop for that sublist to get individual elements. So we got 50 and 75. Then the block of code is over, and we go to the next sublist. The next sublist is 180 and 98 because that is the second value here. And we are further writing a for loop inside that, and we are getting 120 and 98. So this is called as nested loops. Now, if you want to write the same thing using list comprehension, let us take one example. We'll say, let us do it step by step. We'll say sublist for sublist in scores. So if we do this, we'll get the same thing back. So we are going to write it this way. Here we are writing sublist for sublist in scores, but actually we don't want the sublist, we want the number. So we'll say number for sublist in scores, but this will give me an error because we are taking out sublist, but we are checking for number. So we can add one more line here. We can say for number in sublist. This might seem a little bit complicated, but try to write it step by step on your own, and then you will get the hang of it. Otherwise, if this seems confusing, or if you feel that this might be difficult to read, then always opt for writing like this. The only purpose of writing list comprehension is to make it compact and more readable. If it seems that it is more complicated or it might be difficult to read, and then it is counterproductive, and we can use this way of writing if it is easier for you. It depends on which one you find yourself comfortable in understanding and reading, and there is no need for sticking to either one of them. Both are alternatives, and you can make a decision to use whichever one you feel comfortable in. But I just wanted to show you what are list comprehensions, and now let us talk about dictionary comprehensions, which is doing the same thing, but instead of running a loop on a list, we are going to be running a loop on dictionary, and we are going to create a new dictionary by filtering or applying some conditions on an existing dictionary. So that is called as dictionary comprehension. Let us start with an example. This is the example that I want to start with. I want to create a dictionary for all the numbers from 1 to 10 and their squares. We want to create a dictionary like this. We want 1 and then 1, and then we want the key to be 2, and we want the value to be 4, and then we want the key to be 3 and value to be 9, and so on. We want to create a dictionary like this. So if you had to do it normally, how will you do? You will write a loop for num in range 1 to 10. I want to create a dictionary, so I will create an empty dictionary first. Let me create result as an empty dictionary, and assign I will create new keys inside this dictionary and assign the value as the square. So we'll say result of num will be equal to num squared. Okay, and then we look at result. You'll see I'm getting my answer. I'm creating one dictionary where the key is the number from 1 to 10 and the value is the square. This is how we can create dictionary. I hope you are very familiar with this way of creating new indexes. I've shown it in the dictionary lecture. Now let us try to write the same thing using a dictionary comprehension. So writing a dictionary comprehension is again simple. Instead of a list, we are going to create a dictionary here, and we are going to say x and x square. Now x is the variable we are choosing. This is the same as this num. Let me write it num itself so that you are able to relate both the codes. So we want this dictionary for num in range 1 to 10. Again, you see we are getting the same answer again. Let us take one more example. Extract students with a score greater than 75. So let me give you the scores of the student. So we have the list of students here, and let me copy these students here, and I want to filter out. So first let me write a normal dictionary comprehension that will take all of the values. So we'll say and y x and y in students dot items. So we are getting the same dictionary back, except we want to filter it. So what do we want to do? We want to say for y, sorry, if y. Please keep in mind whenever we are doing any kind of filtering, we use the if towards the end. If, what's the condition? Scores greater than 5. So if we say y is greater than 75. Okay, so we are able to filter out Aman and Simran. Let me do the same thing by using normal for loop, so you will be able to understand. We want to iterate on this dictionary. So how do we iterate? If we want the key and value both, we can iterate on items. You know that if we do students dot items, we get a list of tuples where we have the key and value. So I want to iterate on this. I will say for name and score in student dot items. This is the tuple unpacking that I've shown you. Students dot items, and we can just create a new dictionary here, and we can say new dictionary name is equal to score if the score is greater than 75. Sorry, what happened? Sorry, here we need to have a dictionary actually. Okay, now if we do new dictionary, we are getting the same answer again. Now if you want to create a list, that is also possible. I'm just showing you all the different things that you can do with the same example. So if you want to write the same thing, and if I want to, suppose I want to make a new filtered tuple, instead of new dictionary, I want to make a new list, and I'm creating empty list, and here I will just append uh, new list dot append, and I will just append a tuple which will be name and score. This also we can do if score is greater than 75. So you see we are getting Aman and Simran, and if I want to create this as a dictionary, I can very simply do this. Once I've created a list, I can then convert that list to a dictionary. That also is feasible. Or if you want to just have a dictionary to begin with, and in the loop itself you want to add the key and the score to dictionary, that is also fine. Or you can also write a dictionary comprehension like this. Let us take few more examples to. So the question is that we have been given some words, and we want to create a mapping of the words and their length. So let me take the words here. Okay, so these are the words, and I want to create a mapping, or I want to create a dictionary where I will have the key as the word and the value will be the length of the word. So let us do that. Let me take this here, and let us do it in the simpler way first. So let me create mapping, and I will create mapping as an empty dictionary, and then I will iterate on this list. So I will say for word in words. I want to create a dictionary where the uh, key will be the word. So I'll say word, the key is going to be word, sorry, mapping word is equal to the length of the word. So this is going to be length of the word. So our task is done. I'll look at mapping here, and you see I'm able to create a dictionary where I'm having the key as the word and the value is the length of the word. Now, if I want to do the same thing using a dictionary comprehension, what am I going to do? I'm going to say word colon length of word. This is my dictionary for word in words. We're getting the same answer. So this is a way of writing dictionary comprehensions. If you want to do it using list, which is an indirect way, we can do that as well. We can create a mapping list as an empty list, and we will append tuples into it. So we'll say for word in words, we'll say mapping list dot append, and we are going to append a tuple so that later on we can convert this list to a dictionary. So we'll do word and length of word. And if you look at this mapping list, we are having a tuple, and if you want, you can convert this tuple to a dictionary. This is also one way of doing it. Now, don't get confused. My purpose of showing you multiple ways of doing the same thing is for you to get familiarized by repetition. If you are able to understand any one of this, that is completely okay. Try to see which one using which one makes you feel more comfortable and use that. Let us do one final example of filtering a dictionary. So we have been given some dictionary and we want to apply some filtering on it. Okay. And this dictionary is of fruits, and we have apple red, banana yellow, and grape purple. And we want to filter where the values have more than 5 characters. Value means red, yellow, and purple. If they have more than 5 characters, which is purple, purple has more than 5 characters. So we want to filter this list. Okay, great. So let us do it by using our normal method. We'll create a new list and I will make it as a dictionary, and I will iterate on this dictionary. I'll say for fruit in fruits, and then I don't want for fruit, I want to say for fruit and color in fruits dot items. I have fruit and I have the color. Now I want to apply some condition on the color. So if I want to, if I will write if color length of color is greater than 5, in that case I want to say new list. It's not new list, it's actually new dictionary. So let me name it properly. I will say new dictionary of fruit is equal to color. It's a new dictionary, and I got some error saying name fruits is not defined. Why? Because I did not define fruits. It is there in my markdown. So I'll put it here. And yellow is okay. Yellow also has 6 characters and purple also has 6 characters. So we are able to filter it. Now, earlier I made a mistake here and I did not write items here, and I just wrote for fruit in fruits. So in case if you want to write it like this, that is also correct. We can make some changes. So here we will have access to fruits. We'll have access to fruit. So if we want to access color, we can say fruits of fruit. This also we can do. So we now have fruit and the color, and again we can write the same condition that we wrote earlier. The indentation is wrong somehow. Just one second. Okay, now again we can write this code also and we'll get our work done. But we wanted to write a dictionary comprehension, so let us do that. We are going to say fruit and color for fruit comma color in fruits dot items. Okay, if length of color is greater than 5, and you see we are getting the same answer here. If you compare both of them, we are doing the same thing. Okay, we are iterating on, we are taking fruit and color from fruits dot items. Here also we are taking fruit and color for fruit in items, and we are creating a dictionary here. Here also we are creating a dictionary, and we have a if condition here and we are having a if condition here. It is just rearrangement of the same thing to read it in a different way. So I hope you got some understanding of list comprehension and dictionary comprehensions. Later when we do practice, I will try to include more questions and more different types of permutations of iterating on dictionaries and lists, so that the ideas sink in even better. But for now, I think these are sufficient examples. Try to write all these examples on your own and try to write the code, and don't try to, before seeing the solutions, try to write it on your own, and see in what way you are thinking, or in what way you are planning it to write it. And if you are facing any kind of problem, please post your question in the comment section. Or if you are having a certain approach in your mind and you want to write it that way but you are not able to write it, please post that in the comment section, and I will definitely help you. And if you are completely not able to write, then please see the solution, and please watch the lectures on dictionary and list and for loops earlier, so that if you have any confusions there, that gets cleared out. And if nothing else works, please put down a comment, and other people, or I will try to help you. So this is all that is there in this video. In the next video, we will learn about while loops. Thank you.